welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober. Thank you so much for joining me. Today on our program, author Dror Mishani is here to talk about his new detective novel. A record number of women nominated at the recent Israeli Academy Awards. And Israeli citizens competing in Arab Idol. Let's begin with some cultural headlines. DreamWorks Animation is reportedly in talks to be bought by Japanese telecom giant SoftBank. The animation studio behind Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and Madagascar began operating in 1994 under Jeffrey Katzenberg as part of the DreamWorks Studios and spun off into its own in 2004. In the last 2 years, the studio had two relative failures with Turbo and Mr. Peabody and Sherman, but the Hollywood Reporter says SoftBank is willing to pay nearly 50% over DreamWorks' current share price. While the deal has not been confirmed by DreamWorks spokespeople just yet, analysts are already commenting that the sale could be good for DreamWorks, who would benefit from the financial backing and deep pockets of the Japanese giant. And in Los Angeles, the New Beverly Cinema, owned by Quentin Tarantino, is set to reopen on October 1st after a month-long renovation. In a controversial move, Tarantino recently took over programming for the New Beverly from its longtime curator and former owner, who dared bring in a digital projector. Tarantino decided only actual physical film will be screened in the theater to preserve the medium and the movie-going experience. The New Beverly will begin its new run with a tribute to director Paul Mazursky, who passed away recently, and the week after will celebrate the 20-year anniversary of both Tarantino's Pulp Fiction and Luc Besson's The Professional, with a week of double feature screenings. So for just $8, you can watch a double feature selected by Quentin Tarantino himself, often from his own extensive collection. Dror Mishani is an author, translator, and literary scholar. Mishani teaches at the Tel Aviv University and was the editor of Haaretz newspaper's literary supplement. His latest book, A Possibility of Violence, the second in the Avram series of detective novels, was recently published in English, and I'm very happy to have Dror here in the studio. Thanks for coming in, Dror.
Welcome.
So tell me a little bit about Avram and his new case.
Well, his first case didn't end very well, and so in the beginning of the second case, he is a bit traumatized. And the second case, in a way, is an opportunity for him to recover from the results of the first case and to prove himself a worthy detective.
Yeah, and the detective genre is a very specific one. Why are you writing detective stories?
I couldn't have imagined writing anything else, honestly. I don't know why I enjoy writing in the genre personally. Maybe there's something reassuring about, going to write a novel that is very structured from the beginning. You know, when you go to write a detective, your page is never blank in a way. You write in a genre that was, there are so many stories written in this genre before. There's something reassuring about it, and at the same time, it's a nice challenge, I think, for a writer to be able to succeed in the genre, to have something new, to write something that is the genre, but to add something from your own.
Right. Now, writing these stories in Israel, the stories take place in Israel, that in itself is somewhat new. There aren't a lot of detective stories written in Israel.
It's true that the genre wasn't very popular in Israel. I mean, you had, of course, the pioneer of the genre in Hebrew in a way is the late writer Bat Yagur, who wrote in the late 80s and during the 90s mainly. But it's true that the genre isn't very popular, not in original and Hebrew literature, and not also in translation. I mean, most of the classics of the genre aren't translated until today.
Right. And so what kind of adjustments did you have to do to the genre to make it fit here?
You have to make lots of adjustments because, the classic detective is a genius. But here in Israel, I think that most readers would find it difficult to believe that a policeman is a genius like Sherlock Holmes. You know,
comes to show the state of the police and how it's perceived.
Exactly,
in Israel
policemen in Israel don't have very good reputation. Yeah. So in a way, I knew that I had to start in the first case, in the missing file, with Avam in a very low point, like not making a very genius detective. On the contrary, he's wrong in the first case. Mm-hmm. He doesn't solve the first case. And so I think this made him a bit more believable, and so he's going to improve in the second case, and hopefully later on.
By the third, he might actually solve it.
Exactly.
Is there an audience for detective stories in Israel?
There is now more and more. It's true that, again, if you look at the bestsellers list, the New York Times bestsellers list, they're full of detective or thriller. Mm-hmm. In Israel, it's still rare. Most of the bestsellers lists are not detective or any other genre writing. Mm-hmm. But there are more and more readers who are interested in detectives, Hebrew or in translation, and I think it's going to continue.
Grow even more, yeah. Now, as I mentioned, you're a figure in the literary world in Israel. It's not that you're a lawyer who started writing detective stories, and yet you chose to write detective stories. Weren't you worried a little bit about writing what's considered an inferior style of novel?
In a way, I was, and I even thought about publishing my first novel under a different name. And still, I still have people, from the literary milieu that come to me and tell me, you wrote a good novel, but but why did you write a detective? Can you write something else? As I said before, for me it was always clear that it's going to be the detective. I'm a big fan of the genre as a reader since I was a child, and so
yeah. You even teach a class on the subject. You have a theory,
I teach a class
I
in Tel Aviv University about the history of detective fiction, a class that I enjoy very, very much, and that deals exactly with the specificities of the genre and why is it so unique and beautiful. At least that's what I think.
Now, Avram himself, he's a cop, and he's a Mizrahi Jew, which means he's the son of a family from an Arab background. Does that impact the story? Is that a choice that was obvious for you when you made it?
It was obvious because the first decision I made was to locate the story in Holon, which is my hometown.
Okay.
And Holon is a mixed city, but it has a majority of Mizrahim, and in the neighborhood where I grew up, it was really almost strictly Mizrahim. And so I wanted to write a story about this place, not just a detective story, but also a story about this place, about Holon, about the neighborhoods I grew up in. So it was clear to me that these are going to be the main protagonists.
Right. All right, Dror, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about this.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep going. The Israeli Film Academy Awards took place last week with an all-time record number of women nominated, especially in the directing and screenwriting categories. Shahar Peled met the women of the new era in Israeli cinema.
It was the year of women in Israeli cinema, and it reached its peaks at the local Academy Awards.
Talia
Lavi isn't the first woman in Israel to win the Best Director award, but she is the symbol of a landmark time.
In the last 3 years, I personally greenlighted 14 feature films with women directors/writers. The time has come with these graduates from the film schools and the women understanding that feature films, even though it's a big set and it's a big movie, but they are leaders, and they should understand that as leaders they can take a whole crew with them and make a full-length feature film.
Lavi also won Best Screenplay for her debut feature film Zero Motivation, in which actress Shani Klein plays a tough and ambitious female officer.
The screenplay, I think it's so feminine, so I guess that if some male director will direct it, I guess it will be different, because the whole whole point of view is from a woman point of view. Nobody can understand it like us.
Catherine Bigelow.
In 1997, years before Catherine Bigelow became the first woman to win the Best Director Oscar, Israel awarded Julie Schlez with a prize. This year, 38 Israeli feature films were released, an all-time record in itself, with almost one-third of them directed by women. Veteran actress Heli Goldenberg, best known to Israeli audiences from the 1978 cult film The Band, Halehaka, points out the remarkable change.
Halakha was written by a woman and a man together, but he was the director. And then Sharon or Ellen Avi Nasher, they produced the movies together, but he was the director. And today, almost wherever you go, they write, they produce.
Best Picture of the Year went to siblings Ronit and Shlomi Alkabetz for their feature Get, about a woman's struggle to divorce her husband.
For many years, women have been fighting for their place and eventually managed to pave the way. Every year you see success in all aspects, and in the cinema it's wonderful because financing is made possible and women have room to express themselves.
Longtime Israeli actress Hannah Azulay Asfari also decided this was the right time to move into the director's chair.
It took me 20 years to believe that I can do it. It took me another 10 years to raise money. It means, in a way, the struggling of my character, it was the struggling of me being a director.
Despite the challenges, the Israeli film industry is turning a new page and providing a stage for women in management as it hopes to become a model for the entire world.
And now Ranin Boulos is here in the studio. Hi, Ranin.
Hello.
We're going to talk about something pretty incredible.
Yes.
We're talking about the Israeli participants of Arab Idol.
Why did you ruin everything? We're going to start by talking first about Arab Idol last year. We're going to remind that there was the Arab Idol is one of the most the big shows in the Arab world, where all Arab contestants, they come and from all the Arab world. And
the format is known. We all know American Idol, but the special thing here is that it's pan-Arab. I mean, it's from all over the Arab world.
Over the Arab world. Yeah. This year, what was special, last year, Mohammed Asaf from Gaza won. And it was a big thing since he's a boy of Gaza. And it really touched the whole world. A huge star. And he's also, he's involved with the UN. He became something very, very big to the Arab world and to the entire world. Yeah. This year, we have another big sensation. We have two contestants that they're Israelis, Palestinian Israelis.
Okay.
Which it's confusing.
No, they're Israeli citizens.
They're Arab Palestinians they're Israeli citizens. They come from the north. Manal Musa, 25 years old from Deir el-Assad. Haytham Khalaili, 24 years old from Majd al-Krum. It's two Arab villages in north of Israel, neighbor villages. And it's the first time that they participate in Arab Idol, and it's a big thing because, first of all, it was the first time that there was an audition in Ramallah.
Exactly, I was going to say, because I remember Mohammed Asaf's story from last year, that he had to sneak out of the Gaza Strip into Egypt just to participate in the audition. So these guys didn't. The people.
No, they had a very complicated and difficult journey to reach. First of all, it's the first time that they have auditions in Ramallah.
Right.
So these two, they went. Arab, Palestinian, Israelis, they can go to Ramallah. So they went to the audition, they got accepted. And the second round is a bit problematic because it's in Beirut in Lebanon. And as you know, and everyone knows, there is no peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon. So it was a very big story.
I can't just travel to Lebanon with an Israeli passport.
No, you can't. They got, the Palestinian Authority helped them and they gave them like a permission to enter Lebanon. Right. And they did. They went to Beirut and they performed there, and apparently they're also very good. This is Manal that we see now, and everyone really got excited from them, but also it raised a very many issues and many questions. How come, first of all, why didn't they represent themselves as also Palestinians, but that they live inside of Israel, that they come from Deir el-Assad? This could have been a good place to present also the Palestinians with the Israeli inside of Israel that don't have a voice.
How are people in other Arab countries see them?
In general, all the Arab world and the media, they're encouraging them, and it's exciting that Palestinians and Arabs from Israel reached to Lebanon and to Beirut. But they had still, there are many people and a lot of media also, they're criticizing this move, and it's a bit weird how it worked.
Yeah.
And the way they also reached Lebanon, I mean, when they came back, they had a lot of problems in Israel.
Yeah.
The Shabak had to
That eventually got
investigate
resolved,
them.
though.
Yeah.
All right, so at this point, we'll just wish them luck and thank you.
Very big luck, and we're going to follow them, so we'll see what happens.
Thanks. That's it from us for today. We ended it with the latest Simpsons couch gag from the opening episode of their 26th season. Director Don Hertzfeldt takes us deep into the future of The Simpsons, and it's pretty weird. Enjoy.
Family, meet me at the kitchen cube.
I am Simpson. I am Simpson. I am Simpson.